Good morning and welcome to yet another edition of YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dithmini De Silva.
Newsfirst headline.
Head of the State-Owned Enterprises Restructuring Unit, Suresh Shah, says Sri Lanka has not invested in key resources. US urges Sri Lanka to boost steps against human trafficking. In news overseas, Bangladesh's President Mohammad Shahabuddin administers oaths of interim government. And in sports, Nadeem wins Olympic javelin gold in historic first for Pakistan. The news in detail. Head of the State-Owned Enterprises Restructuring Unit, Suresh Shah, says that Sri Lanka over the years has missed out on investing in its most vital resources.
We speak of these enterprises as the national assets and we put resources into those, but we miss the true national assets that this country has and we don't invest behind them. So let me give you a few examples of what the true national assets of this country are. Number one is our younger generation. Our younger generation, if we teach them the true values, if we give them the right education, they can transform this country. But do we invest behind our younger generation? Is our education system, does it get the necessary resources? It doesn't. But Sri Lankan Airlines gets the resources it needs. If it's running at a loss, government doesn't hesitate to pump money into Sri Lankan Airlines. But do we put the same amount of money that the education system needs? We don't. Think about our irrigation system. You know, our irrigation system takes rainwater and distributes it to the last acre of a farmer's land. This is a unique system. It's a tremendous asset that we have. How much money, how much resources have we put behind our irrigation system? If we invest in our irrigation system, just imagine the transformation it can do to the agriculture sector of this country. And through that, just imagine the transformation we can make for the country itself. But we don't invest behind our irrigation system. Take our maritime boundary. You know, our maritime resources are 3 times our land mass. What's the investment we have done into our maritime sector? Nothing. Imagine if we invest in that maritime sector. If we put our resources into the maritime sector. Imagine the transformation that we can do for this country. So the point I'm making is that we have ignored the true national assets because we have run after these commercial enterprises. We are missing the wood for the trees, unfortunately.
In more local news, US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung says the US will continue to support Sri Lanka's efforts to prevent human trafficking.
The issue cannot be addressed alone or in silos. It requires strong, reliable partnerships. Here in Sri Lanka, in the United States, or around the world, we recognize that human trafficking is a multidimensional problem. So, it requires multidimensional solutions. And that's why we value our partnership with Sri Lanka to establish victim-centered, trauma-informed policies and strategies. I want to highlight the importance of fostering a greater collaboration to fight this grave crime. The United States recognizes the significant efforts that the government has been taking. These include increasing convictions for labor traffickers, canceling licenses, and blacklisting more recruitment agencies potentially involved in trafficking. The government also provided assistance to a great number of migrant workers and Sri Lankan diplomatic missions abroad, which is a welcome step. But more work remains to be done in Sri Lanka and globally.
International news.
Bangladesh entered a new chapter in its history after President Mohammad Shahabuddin administered the oaths of the members of the interim government, led by Nobel Peace Prize winner and noted economist Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus as the chief advisor. 14 members, including 2 student representatives of the 17-strong body of the new interim government, were sworn in at the Daba Hall of Banga Baban in the presence of Chief of Army Staff General Wakaru Zaman. Better known for championing microcredit through Grameen Bank in his social business model, Dr. Yunus earlier served as an advisor to the 1996 caretaker government. He won the Nobel Prize with Grameen Bank in 2006. The transition followed the resignation of the country's longest-serving Prime Minister, Awami League President Sheikh Hasina, in a citizens' uprising led by the students on Monday.
Sports news.
Pakistan's Arshad Nadeem won the gold medal for the country after 40 years, breaking the Olympic record with a monstrous 92.97-meter throw in the men's javelin final at Paris 2024. It was the 6th longest throw of all time and Asia's best ever in Olympics. Of Pakistan's 8 previous Olympic medals, 6 came in men's hockey and 1 each in men's wrestling and boxing. Nadeem's achievement also marked the first medal by Pakistan for 8 Olympics, with the last medal coming in 1992, as the men's hockey team won bronze in Barcelona, Spain. And with that, we wrap up this edition of YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dithmini De Silva.